So we did this. Fantastic. Let's do the next one. Okay. So this one has a little bit more going on. So we're going to start with a square, and then we're going to use the Reshape tool to turn it into a diamond. And then we're going to create our circle and explode it away from that diamond and put a rectangle with no outline behind it. So mostly these are Photoshop-y kind of tools. If you've done Photoshop, some of this sort of stacking, but we'll catch up to where that all lives here in Vectorworks. Zoom out. So what I'm doing again is I'm zooming out and I'm using that middle scroll wheel on my mouse to move my paper around, and then I'm zooming in so I have a new fresh little square of my page. Let's start with drawing a square. So I come over here, grab my rectangle tool, or I use my keyboard shortcut 4. I'll start by just drawing it as a square. So if I hold shift, it'll stay a square. If I don't, it'll become a rectangle. So I'm going to just hold that, make that a square. Now I'm going to rotate it. Because you'll see the orientation of this thing is the opposite, right? It is a rotation from the square shape that I have in front of me. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Rotate tool. The Rotate tool here in Vectorworks is a little weird. It is based on selecting an anchor point and then rotating relative to that anchor point. So what that means is I need to first have an object selected, and if I don't, I'll need to use the Command key to select objects, right? So if I picked up this Rotate tool but had nothing selected, I would hold down my Command key and click on something, and then that would become the selected object that I'm trying to rotate. I first will need to click on the center point, right? Because I'm going to rotate this around the center. Then I'm going to grab a handle, right? And now I'm like just letting it snap to vertical. We'll play with this tool more. It's a bit tricky, right? So oftentimes what I'll be using is like one edge as the rotational edge. So it'll be like, click this over here. Now I have it on a handle like that. Okay. So those are the kind of basics of this tool. We'll use it more obviously for other projects. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to hit my X key, right? So I'm back out of there. And the next thing I'm going to do is double click on this, and that will pick up the Reshape tool, believe it or not. Did it do it? Yes. So you'll notice before when I had the object, let's hit the X key and get out of here. Before when I just click on the object, I get those two arrows, resize, right? And when I do that, I'm just changing the shape of rectangle, okay? If, again, hitting the X key to get back to my pointer, if I double click, I'm picking up the Reshape tool. The Reshape tool is also over here, so you can also just come click on it. I will do the thing that is closest to my mouse, so I'll double click on the object I'm trying to reshape. Once I do that, I get a little rectangle with 4 arrows in all directions. And so now I can, instead of just resizing that rectangle, I can create a whole different shape, right? I can move this point freely, okay? Based on, it's anchored still at the other 2 corners, but I can move this freely. I want to go straight up, and I'm going to just choose a number, right? So if I hit tab, and I choose a number like 9 feet, hit tab again, now it's going to snap to that size, and if I go up to the vertical length and I snap, right, I'm let go, so I don't even have to keep holding the mouse to keep this in suspense, right? But now I have my point, right? And it's a specified distance away because I want to repeat that on the bottom of this shape. So now I click, and now it is a little stretched in that direction. And I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom, right? So I'm going to start pulling it, and then I'm going to hit tab, 9 feet, right? Tab. So now it'll snap to anywhere on that marching red ants circle. I'm going to go straight down and click again. And now I have a diamond. Ooh, it is like in the picture. So there we go. We have a diamond. Cool. So next step is going to be to create this circle that's kind of the 2 Pac-Men on either side of my diamond. I'm going to grab my circle tool, right? Again, I can hit the 6. There are a bunch of different methods of circle drawing available to you. We're just going to choose and stick with the regular one for now, which is where's the center of the circle, and then pull it out. So we're just going to go boop. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to pull it out until I get the Pac-Man relative to the thing, right? So I'm looking for a shape like that, and if I hover there, I kind of got it, okay? So now I have the problem. I want a clip surface. I want to chop this diamond out of the Pac-Man on either side. So to do that, I need the diamond to be on top. And this is like basic, again, Word, Photoshop, whatever. Hit your X key, get your cursor back, select your diamond shape, right click, right? So this is another way to get into things. And then you can use your send to front. If you're already really fluent in Photoshop and you use Command F, or yes, Command F as your keyboard shortcut, cool for you. You can just do that. But if not, there is this edit menu. When you right click with your mouse on an object, you get some options here. So we're going to send that to the front. So now I'm cutting out like a cookie cutter the diamond from the little circly thing. In order for it to work, I need both to be selected. If I hold shift, I can pick up the circle too. So now I have two objects selected. I can right click and scroll down in my menu to clip surface. It's off of your screen, so you can't see that. Or I can go back up to my modify menu the way that I have been, right? Uh-oh, something weird has happened. Something strange, right? It has made the shape I do not want. I don't want that shape. Delete. I want the other shape. I want this circle. So let's try again. Right click here. Clip surface. There it is. Okay. So what I changed was to right click on this object, right? To clip this surface and not that one. So now my circle is the one that had the diamond cut out of it. Cool. So we're going to grab another tool that we haven't used yet. And we're going to move. We're just going to explode our Pac-Man away from our diamond. So we're going to use the move command, and that's Command M. Move selection. Yes, please. And it's going to give you two options, Cartesian or polar. I almost always use Cartesian. And this is your X and Y axis, right? So a Y offset is how far up and down it goes. An X offset is left and right. In this case, I don't know, let's move it 5 feet and see how far away that is. Not bad. We'll go with it, okay? You may need less or more. The same thing over here, right? So select that object, Command M. But in this case, if I were to move it 5 feet, it just moves it into the shape more. That's not what I want. Oh yeah, please do. Please save that. See what I just did there? I almost hit cancel. I almost failed to back up my work. Don't be me. Be better. So now we're going to Command M, and minus is going to move it the opposite way. So minus, oh, got to do it again. Great. Now I have my two little Pac-Men, like parentheses, around my diamond shape. Great. We're going to do one more thing, which is just draw a little rectangle and send it behind this logo. And then we can call it a day, play with some lines and do some stuff. So I'm going to just draw a little rectangle, kind of like that. Not so serious, right? If I wanted to make sure that it's aligned, and you can see it's not centered, right? So if I hover, I can see that this has a center point, which is there, and my rectangle's center point, because it's selected, is kind of above that. So if I come in here and I pick up this guy by its center point, which is not, oh, see, I'm doing it again. I have my rectangle tool still on my cursor. I have to hit escape, hit my X key. Now I have my move around tool, right? Now I have my selection tool again. I can pick up the center of this rectangle from its center with my little crosshairs, and I can center it on my diamond shape. So now I know the center of the rectangle is stacked right on top of the center of the diamond, and everything is happy and together. This is, again, a send to back situation. So I can right click and use send to back. That might have been off of your screen. You might not have been able to see that, but here we go, okay? Those send options are also, again, available in your modify menu if you're more of a menu girly than I am. I am more of a right click and get it done person most of the time, and a lot of people tend to follow that path. So now I want to make it visually match what I'm seeing here, okay? So what I'm seeing here, I have these kind of bold lines with some color fill. You can choose whatever colors you want, but I just want you to demonstrate that you have understood the assignment here. So those are all just changing attributes, which should be super straightforward. So I should be able to come over here, change this to blue. Uh-oh, I had not selected it. Select first, right? And if I hold shift, I can select both of them and change both of them. Their fill to blue. And then I'm just going to make them have a fatter pen line, right? So we're going to just make them a nice bold line. So instead of the default drawing, which is drawing at 0.05 line width, I'm now nice and bold on these objects. They have a 0.7 line. Same for this guy. He's going to get his 0.7 outline. And then a solid color. I use some random yellow. If I want some other colors, we can pull open the classic Vectorworks colors and make it yellow. That's not a very good yellow. That looks a little bit, that might be a bit too much. Let's see if this one is, ew. All right, so you can mess with your colors, right? You can be that guy. You can be like, I don't like that color. I want it like to be a little bit more orangier. Oh, much better. Choose your own adventure. It can be whatever color you want. I don't care. As long as you've demonstrated that you make a bolder line, make a color. For this guy, I do want it to be sent to the back, and I want it to not have any outline. So I'm going to turn off its pen, right? So if I switch its pen style to none, it now is just a rectangle with no outline. That's a little hard to see on a white piece of paper because it's a white rectangle on a white piece of paper. So we're going to come in here and give it a gray color. So now you can see it standing off of the background. Okay, so that's our second logo. Cool, cool.